Hello guys, welcome back to our Anime Explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 168 based on novel. So let's start. The two guards didn't dare delay, quickly leading the way into the distant river. How did you two discover it? The fox-like youth communicated while following them. Historical remnant. The ancient god ruins was the place where Blood River Continent's strongest Undyings joined hands against the Outsiders' invasion. That battle was a bloodbath. Trillions of kilometers of area was completely wasted, even causing the area to be filled with killing aura up till now. One could only imagine how intense the battle was. Every Undying was able to build his own god country, the amount of treasures they had was plenty. After that battle back then, the Undying Shrine, there was a period of time where everybody madly searched for treasures. They swept the entire ancient god ruins, collecting large amounts of the treasures. However, even though the Undying Shrine had sent Undyings to search for the treasures, the area was after all still too large. Also, the ground went too deep. The surface diameter of Blood River Continent was 9 trillion kilometers, and the depth alone was close to 100 billion kilometers. With such depths, to actually search the entire area properly, even a group of Undyings would definitely leave something out. However, over a trillion years, it was rare that one ever heard of a new discovery. After all, over countless years, 99% of the historical remnants were already found, leaving behind the extremely hard to find ones. The three of them dived straight into the river, diving deeper and deeper. This vast river's depth was at least 10,000 kilometers, very deep indeed. Lord, discovering the remnant was also our luck. Right, it's luck. The fox-like youth dived downwards, communicating, explain. The two of us were at the bottom of the river hunting some water beasts to barbecue and eat. Who would have thought that at the bottom, we ended up feeling the ground below tremor violently, causing a canyon to split apart, with some ancient decayed weapons floating out. We didn't dare delay, hence we came to inform you. The moment we discovered it, we immediately came to inform you, Lord. The two of them said. The fox-like youth smiled as he heard this. He was a sector lord nurtured by the Undying Shrine, his sights were indeed plenty. Hence from the explanation alone he understood. It should be some Undying, or world leader's world storage which was destroyed. Hence, when it was destroyed the ground tremored, it caused his world to reveal itself. The fox-like youth thought. As long as one reached the sector lord level, he could use his world energy to build his own world and even a world within a world. And one world could be shrunk down within a villa. Even until it reached the size of a specially constructed sand grain. How much it could shrink depended on the materials. Some materials were just a little bigger than a sesame seed, that alone could house an entire world. And even though creating space rings materials were cheap, however to actually slice a piece of space was very hard and troublesome. Hence, many wealthy sector lords and even Undyings would rather use money to acquire valuable materials and store their worlds and use as their storage. After all, a world the size of a sand grain was easy to bring about. However, the god countries were different, they were even more vast and more troublesome. Should be an Undying. World leaders all have their internal worlds. They can place items within their internal worlds. Only Undyings. They already don't have their internal worlds, only god countries. And placing items within and retrieving it later, storing is very troublesome. Hence bringing along a world, where the space is huge, storage etc., was very convenient. The fox-like youth thought. However, the materials used to store a world are still very valuable, and they cannot last forever. After over a trillion years, finally they decayed. Once that happened, then the world would reveal itself. Hence, the ground split open, allowing these two punks to discover it. Ha, my luck sure is good. The fox-like youth reached the bottom excited. At the dark bottom, he used his world energy. Indeed. It's indeed a world. The youth scanned the bottom with his world energy, reaching deep into the ground. Immediately he was very excited. So, he immediately dug deep into the ground and began to search for the treasures. Half a day later, Hushin Island, within the palace. The fox-like youth stood before the fence. Gazing into the distance, he felt extremely satisfied. I didn't expect that Ikuyan could acquire such historical remnant treasures. From the looks of it, it should be some items stored in some Undying's world. Even though there aren't as many treasures as I expected, However, it's still hundreds to thousands of times more than my wealth. Windfall. The legendary historical remnant, it was that thrilling. He was a world leader, even though he had plenty of treasures. In this one instant his wealth had leapt 1,000 times. However, the other weapons and materials etc., I can handle. This jade gold statue, however, is really useless to me. The youth flipped his hand and a 30 centimeters tall statue appeared in his palm. It was completely half-transparent, gold in color. Looking at this statue, it gave off a heart-trembling energy. The statue was of a wild beast. A lizard-like creature, with a long tail, thick legs and a single horn on its head. Its intrepid energy emitted from the mysterious ancient statue. This jade gold statue is one of the legendary beast god statues, I think. I've heard there's a total of 18 of them. The fox-like youth shook his head, however, it only has sentimental value, no other uses. Beast god statue. An item the Undying Shrine worshipped. There were a total of 18 of them. However, back then during the terrifying battle, more than half of them were lost. Till today, 3 of them still hadn't been found. Even though it's useless to me, however, giving it to the Undying Shrine would mean great benefit to me. I'll get quite a reward. The youth smiled. Using his communication device, he sent a message to the Undying Shrine. The message was very simple. It was that he, Kuyan, had acquired a beast god statue by chance and was giving it to the shrine. The message quickly reached light speed. Within 1.5 days, it reached the shrine. Within the shrine, even though the beast god statues were but items of worship and had no other use or importance, its status was still highly regarded. Hence the shrine immediately gave the order for the envoy team closest to bring the statue back, and even give a reward to the Sector Lord Kuyan. Yuka led his team of envoys and sat in a dark purple universe ship, arriving in the air above Hushin Island. Kuyan. The white-robed Yuka descended from above, behind him followed 2 envoys. Ha ha, Yuka. The fox-like youth smiled and flew from the island, welcoming them. What a coincidence. I am here under the god's orders to deliver the Blood River medals to Lord Baki. The white-robed Yuka said. Right now there are currently 2 teams of envoys in the ancient god ruins, and I just happened to be close to you. Hence, I was ordered to route over and receive the beast god statue. Lord Baki. The fox-like youth was surprised. You are heading to Lord Baki. I heard he has been in the aura training for quite long, and has already absorbed 8 crystals. Yes. The white-robed Yuka nodded. Go, it's a good surprise that I met you here. I'll follow you to meet Lord Baki. I've long heard of his reputation, but haven't met him yet. The youth said. Compared to Baki, whether it was age or position, he paled in comparison. Firstly, this fox-like youth was only Sector Lord level 3. And Baki had long ago reached the pinnacle of Sector Lords. And he was a trillion-year genius. As long as he wanted, he could break through to Undying very quickly. In terms of position, Baki was comparable even to the Undyings. Otherwise, why would his guard team alone have 2 Sector Lords, and even a powerful wild beast Chinyo as his brother? Let's go. White-robed Yuka nodded. Immediately the group flew into the purple ship in the sky. It sped off with shocking speed headed towards the huge pit. Time passed. Luo Feng waited patiently within the huge pit quarters. Blood god Baki told me that day it'll take 6 to 10 days. According to Earth time, that's at most 2 months, however now, 2 months have passed. Dressed in the blood god guard uniform of bronze armor, he sat crossed-legged on his stone bed, worrying within. Him staying there didn't have many benefits anymore. And returning would mean more opportunities. Compared to the vast universe, Blood River continent was simply too small. Rumble. The air shook, and a powerful energy reached Luo Feng. 97. A thick voice resounded within the huge pit quarters, causing Luo Feng to jump down and reply respectfully, Lord. The huge pit quarters was tens of thousands of kilometers away from the palace in the depths of the pit, and a Sector Lord's unleashed world energy was unable to travel that far. Hence he had to control and focus his world energy in a specific direction. With blood god Baki's control, it caused the air to shake. Come here to me. The voice resounded. Yes. Luo Feng replied, happy within, looks like it was time to receive the Blood River medal. Luo Feng became a green light and followed the cave out, diving deep into the depths of the huge pit and reaching the bottom in an instant. 5th level of the palace. Luo Feng had arrived at the 5th level, spotting the blood-color-robed Baki in the throne above, along with the wild beast Qinyo beside. "Greetings, Lord Qinyo." Luo Feng knelt on one knee. "Get up." Baki was smiling. "In a while, the Blood God Palace envoys will arrive and deliver the medals. Also, your luck this time is good." "My luck is good." Luo Feng's face was filled with curiosity. Blood God Baki smiled. "Ha ha, the special envoys that have come have brought along another world leader Kuyan. He was extremely lucky, acquiring an ancient treasure from the Undying Shrine, the Beast God statue. It is a statue of a beast god, a legendary being. When they arrive, I'll let you see the statue." "Ah? Beast god statue?" Luo Feng was curious. On the surface, however, he shouted, "Thank you, Lord." When Luo Feng went to visit the Blood God Baki, a dark purple disc-shaped universe ship had stopped above the huge pit in mid-air. The cabin door opened. The leader of the envoys, the white-robed Yuka, and the fox-like youth Kuyan flew out of the cabin door, followed by 8 others. "This is Baki's training spot." The fox-like youth's eyes gleamed. Gazing below at the huge pit, "The aura here is so thick, looks like there's a whirlpool down there too." Yuka nodded indifferently, simultaneously keeping the universe ship. "Follow me down," Yuka ordered. Yes, the group complied. "Hee, we'll meet the legendary Lord Baki in a moment." The fox-like youth was very excited. Su. 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 The silhouettes rushed downwards swiftly into the depths of the blood-red aura. Within the depths, a palace was erected there. 10 silhouettes swiftly descended and landed at the entrance of the palace, led by the white-robed Yuka and the fox-like youth Kuyan. "Lord Baki. On orders from my god, we've delivered the Blood River medal." The white-robed Yuka bowed and shouted. "Enter." A thick booming voice immediately reached the 10 people's ears. Simultaneously, a blood god guard appeared at the entrance and personally led them in. "Envoys, this way." With the guard leading them, the 10 of them quickly reached the 5th level of the palace. Palace 5th level. A blood-red robed Baki sat high in his throne, gazing below. Below, on the left was the fierce-looking wild beast Qinyo, and beside him were 3 blood god guards. Captain number 1, Vice Captain number 2, and the blood god guard awaiting his medal 97. Yuka and Kuyan along with the others had arrived. "Greetings, Lord Baki." The white-robed Yuka bowed, beside him the fox-like youth bowed too. "Greetings, Lord Baki." The 8 of them behind them too knelt down on one knee. "Yuka, it's been rough on you." Baki nodded from above in the throne. His gaze then landed on the youth beside him. "You are Kuyan?" "Yes, Lord Baki." The youth smiled and spoke excitedly. "I was a few generations after Lord Baki. However, I am also one of the geniuses from the Undying Shrine. I've long heard of your name and always wanted to meet you. But today, it's finally come true." Baki nodded, remaining calm. The Undying Shrine had many geniuses in one batch. The strength of the world leaders was large also. Baki was a genius of 1,000,000,000 years and his position was comparable to an Undying. As for the other normal geniuses, naturally he didn't bother. What's more, even though Yuka and Kuyan below were of Sector Lord strength. One was Sector Lord level 3, while the other was 5. Even in terms of quantity, they hadn't reached the pinnacle. Naturally Baki couldn't bother too much with them. Blood River medal. Baki looked below at Yuka. "These are the 20 medals that my god had ordered me to deliver." Yuka flipped his hand and 20 palm-sized medals floated in his hand. They were all completely dark red, and on them were engraving and words. The 20 medals floated directly to the throne above before Blood God Baki. Blood God Baki snorted coldly. With a wave of his hand, he kept those 20 medals. 97. Blood God Baki ordered. "Present." Luo Feng walked out and knelt on one knee, replying loudly. In the throne above Baki smiled. "You've successfully absorbed 3 crystals, becoming a blood warrior. Today, before the envoys of the Undying Shrine, I personally present you this Blood River medal. Train well, don't waste your talents. Your underling will not disappoint you, Lord." Luo Feng knelt on one knee, his voice strong and forceful. Blood God Baki waved his hand and immediately one medal appeared and floated before Luo Feng. Luo Feng stared at the medal. It was palm-sized, and dark red in color. Its surface was covered in engravings that formed together an ancient palace. As he raised his hand to receive it, he said respectfully, "Thanks, Lord." Simultaneously, he let out a sigh of relief within. He had finally acquired the medal. Once one became a blood warrior and acquired the Blood River medal, the reward would be 100k points. Everything is finished. I have no need to stay anymore. Once I return to the huge pit quarters, I'll find a chance to leave. Luo Feng thought. Cloud-level pinnacle, and his absorbed 3 crystals. That fox-like youth Kuyan let out a shrill voice, resounding throughout the palace. Congratulations, Lord Baki. Congratulations, to acquiring such a genius. I believe that in hundreds of thousands of years, he will definitely be a powerful warrior. Baki only replied indifferently, changing the subject. I heard you acquired a beast god statue. By mere luck. Kuyan immediately replied. Your luck is not bad. In the throne, Baki nodded coldly. And Luo Feng, who was standing beside the 2 other guards, was curious within. Just what was this beast god statue thing? Lord Baki, please take a look. Kuyan confidently extended one hand and suddenly, a statue appeared out of nowhere in his palm. It was about 30 centimeters tall, half crystal-like and transparent. It also had complex gold within, and it looked like a lizard-like beast. However, its head seemed to be struggling with its 4 legs, which were thick and powerful, and 1 horn that piercing towards the sky. The entire statue emitted a heart-trembling, terrifying energy. Brutal. Almost like a crazed shout, the voice resounded through everybody's ears, making everyone who was staring at the statue change their expressions. Good statue. Blood God Baki complimented and nodded. Beast God. The wild beast Chinyo stared wide-eyed, and a complex look could be seen within his gaze as he looked on. The 2 captains of the Blood God guards too looked in shock. They had heard of the legendary beast god statue before, but have never seen it. Of all present, the only one who had probably seen a beast god statue before was probably Blood God Baki. This is, Luo Feng remained calm on the outside, inside however were filled with torrents of thoughts and emotions that took over. Right? Without a doubt, this beast god statue was the terrifying ancient beast he had seen in the 3 pictures in the whirlpool. Just the statue alone, that weak but terrifying energy it emitted, it was definitely stronger than Baki, Chinyo, or any others. Even more powerful than some of the powerful warriors Luo Feng had seen in the Primal Chaos City. Naturally, the energy from the statue was weak. This beast god statue. Luo Feng carefully examined it, staring at every scale, and at its incredibly defined claws and tail. How brutal. Luo Feng could almost see countless years ago, where this lizard-like beast dominated the universe space. Howling and slaughtering tens of millions, its intrepid energy completely triggered Luo Feng's golden horned beast. What his earth body saw, the other bodies naturally saw too. Howl, the golden horned beast within the internal world couldn't help but howl out, and its dark pupils were filled with excitement and anticipation. This is the true aim of the golden horned beast. This is the direction in which the beast needs to head in. Luo Feng was extremely excited. Having long studied the 3 ancient pictures, along with the golden horned beast's reaction, it made Luo Feng burn with excitement within. The shape of the statue was important, but the importance was given to God itself. Luo Feng had long studied the blurry ancient pictures formed by the aura, using tearing sky and land technique to comprehend and learn. After rushing into the whirlpool, he was even able to more clearly study the 3 pictures. Those 3 within were 10 times clearer than those formed by the aura outside. Hence that image of the god was also 10 times clearer. And at this time, this beast statue before him, it made Luo Feng feel as though there was a living ancient beast right before him. Even though it was a simple statue, however the god that statue portrayed, that energy, was countless times higher than the 3 ancient pictures. Howl, the golden horned beast howled within the internal world. It was howling. Almost like a cat howling, trying to imitate a tiger. That ancient beast was a tiger and the golden horned beast was but a weak cat. That was not the correct way. Wrong, what I studied before was wrong. Tearing sky and land, compared to this ancient beast's first claw pales in comparison. Looking at the statue itself, I know the right path. Almost like a living ancient beast here, the energy emitted from the statue revealed many secrets that indeed benefited the golden horned beast. I have to acquire it. This ancient beast statue, I have to get it. This statue, to the Golden Horned Beast, is like the Nine Universe tablet to the human body. I don't know who carved this statue, but they were actually able to capture its essence. The Golden Horned Beast studied it a while, and immediately realized that this was far from an ordinary statue. Luo Feng's gaze fell on the white-robed Yuka and Kuyan's bodies. Those two were sector lords. What do I do? These two are both sector lords. I have no way to snatch. Luo Feng panicked within. And there's even Baki and Qinyo here, who are both sector lord pinnacle. And once they leave, they will swiftly take their universe ship and go. As Luo Feng was panicking. The beast god statue is completely jade gold, and every inch of jade gold is incomparably valuable. It's a material used by undyings to create weapons. Baki looked at the statue and exclaimed a couple of times. However, he seemed more enticed by the material and the worth of the jade gold that was used to make the statue. However, 18 statues, in terms of craftsmanship, all are at their peaks. Baki's felt his problem and quickly complimented the work. Lord Baki, as the medals have been delivered, will return back to the shrine. White Robe Yuka bowed. Kuyan too kept the medals and bowed. Baki nodded. Yuka, Kuyan and the other 8 envoys thus left. Luo Feng stood there, frowning. As the white-robed Yuka and Kuyan left with the 8 envoys, Luo Feng left the palace too. He became a beam of green light rushing into the sky, quickly reaching his huge pit quarters. Undying Shrine, Beast God Statue. Luo Feng looked at the skies. He could see 1,000 li in the sky, and there, a dark purple disc-shaped ship floated around. Beast God Statue. Luo Feng recalled the statue. How? Looking at that statue was almost like looking at a live ancient beast itself. Through the statue and its mysterious energy, he could feel the ancient beast's first Kal-W scene. Such artistic grace, unleashing an attack that could destroy the entire land and skies, it was so natural. The ancient beast's claw was one that was infused with both universe laws and ground and sky laws. It came into contact with almost every law. Looking at the beast statue, the Golden Horned Beast too had some revelations. It could use this to understand how to improve in its training. Maybe the statue wasn't as godly as the 9 Universe tablet. However, to the Golden Horned Beast, its importance was maybe even higher than the 9 Universe tablet to it. The only thing was that the statue was protected by 2 sector lords now. Luo Feng thought, and entered his huge pit quarters. Blood River World Space, Tianxia Palace. This palace was located in space. In terms of size, it wasn't smaller than a planet. Within the first level of the palace, a group of sector lords in charge of surveillance were shocked as they looked at the huge screen. Ah, His Majesty Luo Feng's automaton ship has entered Blood River World. Luo Feng's ship, it's been in space for so long. Why enter it now? He's preparing to return. Be on your toes. The group of sector lords didn't dare relax. Right now, Luo Feng was heavily favored by the upper echelons of the Virtual Universe Company. In terms of position, he was much higher than the group of sector lords. 15th cloud level, the dark purple disc-shaped ship was flying swiftly. In the 18th cloud level, disguised fully as a cloud was a silver-white pyramid automaton ship. It too was swiftly flying. In terms of speed and flexibility, this undying automaton ship was much better in many aspects compared to the Yunmo planet ship, much less the technologically backward ships of Blood River World. Automaton ship, control room. Black-clothed Luo Feng sat in the sofa. A light screen appeared before it, and on it there was a marker. Beast God statue, I definitely have to get it. The 9 Universe tablet, it's hard to get even one chance to study it, and each time, there is a allowed study period of only 7 days. And this statue is extremely important to the Golden Horned Beast. Luo Feng's eyes gleamed. In the vast universe, the strong preyed on the weak, and many races were destroyed and extinct due to this law of the jungle. Everything was based on strength. Even though the points from the Blood River Crystal were very important, and his rewards this time were huge, the Beast God statue was hundreds to thousands of times more valuable than the 100k points. No matter what, I have to get it. Luo Feng thought. Master, the target has been acquired. Currently maintaining a distance of 1.6 million kilometers. The AI from the automaton ship spoke. Activate Star Annihilator Cannon. Luo Feng said coldly. Yes. The ship's AI wouldn't defy him in the least. A voice however resounded in the control room, shouting, Luo Feng, what are you doing? Why are you activating the Star Annihilator Cannon? That's a Star Annihilator Cannon, and is comparable to an Undying's full attack. Just one shot can completely destroy a planet. The amount of energy used is shocking too. The automaton's reserves aren't that much, your one shot will use 1/3 of the reserves. While Barbata was shouting in rage, the control room resounded with the Ari's voice. Star Annihilator Cannon 1 countdown, 60, 59, 58. There's a treasure I need to get from that ship. Black-clothed Luo Feng said coldly. Damn, is there a treasure that requires you to use this cannon? A Star Annihilator Cannon is one of the pinnacle weapons in the entire human race of the universe. One shot is akin to an Undying's full attack. However, because of its dispersed attack, it cannot be as condensed as a true Undying, hence it cannot kill an Undying. However, anything under an Undying will definitely be reduced to ashes. Aren't you worried that the treasure you want will be destroyed too? The black-clothed Luo Feng said coldly. That's a statue made of jade gold from Blood River Continent. Jade gold. Barbata seemed to realize, muttering, what a waste. 18 beast god statues were from an era before a war over trillions of years ago. Most of them had been retrieved, yet none of them seemed to be damaged in the least. Obviously, to actually damage these statues was extremely hard, even the Undyings found it hard to do. Even if one broke through a space ring, with the space inside broken, the statues would still remain unharmed. Even after an Undying is killed, the statues were still in perfect condition. Undying Shrine. They've always regarded the statues as extremely important items to be worshipped. As their history was very special, what they represented was terrifying. Hence the Undying Shrine worshipped these statues. Other than the fact that they remained in perfect condition over countless years, the Undyings had yet to find any other special use for them. 30, 29, 28, the countdown in the control room continued. About 1.6 million kilometers from the automaton ship, the dark purple ship was flying. Whether it was the automaton race or the human race, they mostly battled in space. Since the area in space was vast and unlimited, their scanning radius was naturally huge too. Much less this automaton ship was made from a race of technology, which was equal to an Undying. If it were detected by the ship made by the backward Blood River Continent, that would be a joke. Within the dark purple ship. Yuka, that Baki sure is arrogant. I painstakingly went all the way there, yet he didn't even smile at me. The fox-like youth Kuyan sat crossed-legged, lifting a wine glass and saying dissatisfied. Baki was also known as Blood God. He made his name because of his madness and slaughter. He may be closer to his Blood God guards. However, to others, he's always been cold. The white-robed Yuka shook his head and smiled. There is no way around it. Baki is a genius of 1 trillion years, hence he can back his arrogance. We can only accept it. The fox-like youth simply snorted coldly. In front of Baki earlier, he was affectionate and friendly. However, now he couldn't hide it anymore. Kuyan. The white-robed Yuka changed the subject. You giving this beast god statue to the Undying Shrine this time will get you a huge reward. Ha ha, the fox-like youth smiled the moment he thought of the reward. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Energy storing complete. Within the silver-white pyramid's control room, black-clothed Luo Feng sat in the sofa. His eyes gleamed coldly as he ordered, fire. The silver-white pyramid was 200 meter tall. The large pyramid at this time revealed itself. The beautiful tip of the pyramid had a condensed glaring light ball, as the entire surface of the ship had large amounts of light energy gathered at the tip. It got stronger and stronger, until it sparked like lightning, finally forming a light ball with a diameter of 300 meter. With the order within the control room, fire. The light ball at the tip became a light pillar with a diameter of 300 meter, and immediately followed the calculated path from the AI within the ship and fired out. Within the dark purple ship. The fox-like youth was still smiling. Yuka, you relax, this. The 300-meter diameter light pillar immediately passed right through the purple ship. That ship's diameter was but about 100 m. It was completely engulfed by the light pillar. Under this terrifying attack, the two sector lords within the ship Kuyan and Yuka could only stare wide-eyed in fear and were reduced to nothing. The other 8 envoys within didn't even have time to react and were destroyed. The space rings all broke apart one by one, and all the stored spaces within 2 were sliced open, with large amounts of items within being reduced to dust. However, within the fox-like Kuyan's ring, there were several items that managed to survive the light pillar's attack. Especially that beast god statue. Even after the space was destroyed, it was perfectly undamaged, almost like this attack was nothing but a gust of wind against it. The light pillar immediately reduced the ship to dust. Simultaneously, a 300-meter diameter cavity appeared in the wilderness of the ancient god ruins below. The light pillar condensed and gathered, and finally a huge explosion occurred. Rumble, tens of thousands of kilometers around exploded. The area at the middle of the explosion was decimated, and countless rubble and stones flew everywhere. Star Annihilator Cannon. The truth that just one shot could destroy an entire planet was not a joke at all. At the depths of the huge pit, within the palace. Such a strong energy ripple. Who is it? Two silhouettes, one blood god Baki and another Chi Nyo swiftly rushed towards the energy ripple. Even the two captains of the blood god guards swiftly rose into the skies. All these characters flew out of the huge pit and headed towards the terrifying energy ripples. What's going on? Why has the Lord left? The blood god guards all rose into the skies and flew out of the huge pit. Luo Feng too followed suit. Baki, blood god guards. Luo Feng looked at the guards swiftly flying out, thinking, it's time to say goodbye. As blood god Baki rushed towards the energy ripples, Luo Feng rushed into the skies and simultaneously took off his wrist communicator, tossing the hard-to-destroy communicator deep into the pit. He himself swiftly flew through the 18 cloud levels, and as the automaton ship drew close, he vanished into his internal world. A huge crater with a diameter of tens of thousands of kilometers could be seen. Blood god Baki and Chi Nyo floated in mid-air, gazing down at the size of the crater, and were utterly shocked. There's no trace of origin law ripples. Blood god Baki's face revealed shock. This isn't an Undying's attack. It's the outsiders. Chi Nyo's eyes too were filled with shock. Inform the shrine, immediately inform the shrine. And in the space above Blood River World, the automaton ship disguised as a meteorite flew. Luo Feng lay in the sofa, lifting a wine glass and looked at the beast god statue that emitted a terrifying energy. He smiled happily and said, 1/3 of the energy reserves were used to exchange for a beast god statue. It's definitely worth it. With such a small capital investment, I've gotten a huge profit indeed. Look at your smug face. The energy-formed silhouette of the demon Barbata mocked. How can I not be satisfied? Luo Feng put down the wine glass and lifted the beast god statue. Looking ahead at the vast space, it was dreamy and filled with dust and fog. Meteorites could also be seen everywhere. Looking at the endless space, Luo Feng's spirit rose. Looking down at the beast god statue, he almost felt as though the statue had become a live ancient beast that was roaring. This beast itself seemed to embody the laws. The golden horned beast within his internal world also raised its head to howl, resounding throughout the entire internal world. This is it. It's the strongest thing I can rely on. His eyes gleamed. While staring at the statue, he said, with this statue, comprehending that first claw will be much faster. This will also make my path to understanding the other paths easier and smoother. I want to stand at the peak of the universe, and this will pave the way to achieve that. My greatest reward from this Blood River world is this beast god statue. Luo Feng thought. The Mosha clansman appeared next to him. The black-clothed Luo Feng immediately received the statue and disappeared within the internal world. Within the internal world. How? The golden horned beast was like a black mountain range that stood there, and while it extended its right claw, it was even bigger than the Himalayan mountains. Black-clothed Luo Feng placed the statue in its palm, after which the statue vanished and entered within the golden horned beast's storage ring. The golden horned beast had its own storage ring. As it frequently trained deities of the world etc., it required a space to retrieve its own treasures to swallow. It stored the storage ring within the slits of its chest scales. Generations of golden horned beasts, too, had placed their storage items within that slit, mainly because there was a space there that was actually suitable to place items. Within the control room of the automaton ship, Luo Feng looked ahead at the space, ordering, let's go, head to Meng Na City. Meng Na City. Demon Barbata opened his mouth in shock. Luo Feng looked at the virtual image of Barbata beside and nodded his head. Back then I placed Na-ku in Meng Na City, and it's been 80 years already. Who knows what's happened to him? I gave him some treasures back then, the treasures could move his heart. Hence, before leaving I want to go take a look, since Tianxia Palace is that direction too. The space close to Swallow Mound territory was the closest to Tianxia Palace. For Luo Feng to return, he'd have to first head to Tianxia Palace, and since it was along the way, visiting Na-ku was a natural thing to do. Rumble. The automaton ship swiftly flew, quickly becoming a blurry light in space. Ancient god ruins, the Star Annihilator cannon had left a huge crater there. Baki, who was dressed in his blood robe, and the mountain-like wild beast Chi Nyo along with the over 90 blood god guards, all stationed themselves about the edges of the crater. Rumble. The skies shook. Baki, Chi Nyo and the guards all looked up at a silhouette that had appeared in mid-air. It was a tall and sturdy old man in grey stone-colored armor, his hair stood erect. As he blinked, it was almost as though there was endless thunder energy, his gaze was like a thunder prison. Greetings, Undying. Baki bowed respectfully. God. The guards all knelt down orderly, even Chinyo lowered his head. This gray-armored old man gazed at the 10,000 kilometers diameter crater. Rumble. Rumble. His gaze was like the sun, shooting out two light pillars, which pierced straight into the deep crater. It was almost as though he could see entirely through the red thick aura within the crater. Undying. Baki opened his mouth. Within this group, his status was the closest to that of an undying. However, in terms of power, of course the undying was still more powerful. This crater. The old man's voice was powerful and deep. There's no sense of laws. The terrifying attack that created this crater is indeed not one of an undying. However, in terms of power, it's definitely comparable to the full power of an undying. Only the Outsider's valuable technological weapons can create something of this level. Looks like it's really the Outsiders. Baki nodded. This is very serious. The stone-armored old man frowned, saying solemnly. Because of this huge crater. The Undying Shrine had already discussed this with the highest priority. According to that terrifying ancient battle before, from all the data that we've collected. Even from the Outsiders, weapons with power comparable to an Undying are highly unlikely. Indeed. The universe humans may have great technological advancements. However, power that matched that of an Undying could only be created through immeasurable amounts of wealth. But that was simply not worth it. The only ones that had truly reached the pinnacle of technology was the automaton race. These few years, there would frequently be Outsiders entering our Blood River continent. The stone-armored old man frowned. We caught all we could and killed all we could. However, these are small matters. This time, however, for someone to have such a powerful weapon, the person who's invaded our world must have a very high status. Baki nodded. Also, according to the world leader Kuyan and Yuka's ship, their signal was cut halfway in this region. Right here, they met with a tragic end. The stone-armored old man said. Obviously the enemy used this weapon to attack from far, destroying the ship and killing both Kuyan and Yuka. This level of technological attack, those two couldn't even defend against. Even Baki wouldn't have 1% of surviving that attack. Baki's body shuddered. Technological weapon. It was actually so powerful. Be on high alert. The stone-armored old man said. You are our Blood River continent's rare genius of 1 trillion years. If you were killed by a technological weapon, that would be the worst possible result. Baki nodded. Gritting his teeth, he asked unsatisfied, are we to simply just bear with this? Not retaliating. Retaliate? What do you mean retaliate? The stone-armored old man looked at Baki. He was feeling exhausted within. Without truly experiencing the ancient tragic battle from before, it was hard to imagine just how powerful the Outsiders were. Because of many reasons, the Undying Shrine was able to maintain governance. And he was an ancient survivor of that battle. Back then, he was only a sector lord, he didn't truly participate in the battle, otherwise he would have died long ago. However, he knew many secrets to that ancient battle. Our Blood River continent's power is still far too weak. The stone-armored old man replied. We cannot think of retaliating yet, we can only train well. Everything relies on power. As for this matter, you don't need to bother with it, the Outsiders rarely send someone so important. Our Undying Shrine will not be careless too. If we catch him, we may know more secrets from that person. Over 1 trillion years, the Undying Shrine had indeed caught a few universe geniuses. Baki nodded. The stone-armored old man became a bolt of lightning and flashed, vanishing from the skies. As an Undying, that old man's speed was even faster than the ships their Undying Shrine had built. Lord. Blood God Guard's 2 captains came over, the others all had and heard Baki's conversation with the Undying. I told you all to send a message to all the world leaders to check on any news of 97. Have you done that? Baki looked at the 2 captains. Lord. The captain number 1 said respectfully. We've already sent out the messages. However, Lord, are we not to investigate personally? I suspect 97 could still be in the area. We don't have time to investigate. Baki shook his head coldly. He actually betrayed me, there'll be no place for him on Blood River continent. A month ago when the huge crater was created, Blood God Guard 97 had secretly left, enraging Blood God Baki. He had once heavily favored 97. So, he didn't expect to be betrayed. However, Baki never would have thought that 97 didn't need to stay at all in Blood River continent. Because his true limits were the endless vast universe. The automaton was disguised as a meteorite, and after about 2 months of flying in space, it finally reached Meng Na City's space. Master, we've arrived at Meng Na City. The automaton ship AI said. Sitting cross-legged in the control room, Luo Feng, who was studying the universe wonders, opened his eyes and smiled. Little Na-ku, I hope you are still alive. His Earth body sat in the automaton ship. He let the Mosha body fly out before flying back into space. Black-robed Luo Feng walked in the luxurious bustling streets of Meng Na City. It's been 2 months since I fired the cannon and acquired the Beast God statue. I believe the effect would be pretty great. For safety reasons, I'll leave the core in space, there'll be no loss then. Black-clothed Luo Feng was very relaxed. Even if he met with a dire situation and the Mosha body was reduced to dust. With a little energy usage, he could easily reform the body. As long as the core was fine, the 3 bodies were essentially undying. The core was Luo Feng's true core. Ahead is Yu Dao sect. Luo Feng walked along the streets, buying little snacks along the way to eat, and casually gazing about. I ordered Na-ku back then strictly to not leave this place unless he reached cloud level, universe level. He should have listened to me. After a while, Luo Feng stood in the streets. Looking at the luxurious mansion, there was a tag on the door. This is the Ni residence, don't hang around the entrance, make way. Black-clothed punk, move to the side. The 2 guards at the door ordered. Luo Feng's expression was ugly, looking at the 2 guards. Rumble. The 2 guards felt as though the land and skies about them vanished. The black-clothed youth before them, his formless pressure, caused them both to crumble. I'm asking you, where's the Yu Dao sect? Black-clothed Luo Feng asked coldly. Yu Dao sect, it was destroyed long ago. The 2 guards said in shock. At this time, the oncoming traffic of people couldn't hear anything. They could only see the 2 guards speaking to the black-clothed youth, not hearing anything they said. Luo Feng's gaze focused. Tell me in detail what happened to the Yu Dao sect. Yes. We'll speak. The 2 guards immediately began to explain in detail about how after the Yu Dao sect was destroyed and how someone came to avenge it later. This video will end here. Thank you for watching.